we're back.
Hi, Jana.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
It's good to see you. It's been a little while.
No, it's been a hot minute, Jana.
And it's hot. It's hot. We always talk about the weather, and I always complain about it.
Yeah, we had a super hot spring, and then it went back to being like 70s and whatever, which is normal for here. But then today it's going to be in the low 90s, which when I was a kid, we would have like a 3 or 4 day heat wave in August.
Right.
That would be 90, and everyone would be like, oh, it's terrible, whatever. And that was it. And now it's like all summer off and on into the 90s for us. How bad is it where you are?
Like that.
Like that?
Yeah, the other day I posted a picture on my Instagram of like my weather station that sits on the edge of the piano, and it was 101, and it was like 9% humidity.
That's dry.
And scary because, you know, prairie fires, grass fires, like, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want to be in Houston where it's, you know, whatever percent humidity and 112, and then who knows what the heat index is, but because that's nasty. But, you know, the fire is definitely concerning. Yeah. So
we don't have, we picked a really cheery topic to kick off on.
I know. Crappy weather. But, you know, sock knitting is good in the summer because you don't have to have it on your lap. So.
Well, and I find we have air conditioning in the house, so I've just gone right on knitting big old sweaters and stuff.
Nice. Yeah. I just go, we have a couple of window units and I go camp out in front of that. Yeah. But you know what else I wanted to bring up? Summer knitting, you know, socks are obviously a good thing, but I was thinking the other day, you know, I have that whole series of the Nora's Vintage Afghan where we did a tutorial for each block every month. And that's only, you know, 12 by 12 inches. And, you know, you could easily start on that in the summer. It's not a big project on your lap. You're just knitting a block at a time.
Right.
So if people are interested, I'll link the playlist down below.
Good call. Good idea.
But what we're really here to talk about, you've been really getting into the tours and the knitting tour. That one day, I want to do that one day.
I hope so. Let's say I'm not going to push you for 2023, but let's start looking at 2024, Jana.
I might have.
Start getting your mind around it. 2024, you, me, Shetland.
I wonder if I could fly from Denver there, or if I'd have to like go to New York or some horrid thing like that.
There were people who came from the West Coast who were able to get to the UK from the West Coast. So
like Denver to London.
I don't know that. I don't know.
I don't know either.
They were coastal, so
I'm sure I would have time.
You might have to go to like San Francisco or something, or Vancouver or something like that, and then fly over. I don't know. I'm not a travel agent, not a travel agent. I'm a host. I'm a tour host.
You are.
And I work with a tour guide company called Island Vista in Shetland. And together, like Voltron, we have assembled these amazing these amazing knitting tours. Guess when I was born?
Right.
Yeah. So we did our first set in the spring. We had a week of Fair Isle and a week of Lace, and it was so fun. That was and then we have some more coming up this fall. Right. But Jolene and I were like, well, let's hold off and see how this first set goes before we commit to 2023. And we had such a blast that we were like, yeah, we're doing 2023 also. So the reason why I'm here now talking to you is because the day before this is going to air, registration just went live on the tours for 2023. And I want to tell you about them and start getting you excited to come for 2024 for you, but I want everyone else to come in 2023.
Because, you know, most people don't have to have a year and a half to wrap their mind around it.
Right. And don't wait for Jana to come in 2024, because it's probably going to be like 2030 before I get her to actually come.
Oh, look who just came, who just climbed up. James. Oh, he wants on the shelf. He likes the shelf. He likes the shelf. That's a brioche scarf that he likes to lay on.
Yeah.
It's nap time.
A comfort. That's so cute. So cute. So if you have been following me in any way, shape, or form, you know that this year, 2020, we're doing Fair Isle and Lace. Next year, we're actually adding a different tour to the rotation called Contemporary Crafts, which I'm very excited about. And I want to
give me an example of what that means, contemporary crafts.
Well, I want to leave it to last.
Okay.
I'm just teasing it.
Okay.
So you got to listen to me talk about Fair Isle and Lace first, and we'll come back to contemporary.
But that's enjoyable.
Yeah. So we are running 4 weeks of tours in the spring, 4 weeks of tours in the summer. We're going to Shetland. Probably should have led in with that.
Okay. Well, we'll put the appropriate description in the video so people have a preview.
So people know. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. So the tour starts when you get to Shetland. So these tours are open for anyone in the world. Anywhere you are, you're welcome to come. We have people coming from Germany, from Canada, from the US, from South Africa. We have someone from, I can't remember now if it's Australia or New Zealand. I do apologize, who I believe is planning to book for 2023. So these really are they're English speaking tours. So you have to be comfortable speaking English so you understand the classes. But other than that, you're welcome to.
How neat to meet people, international knitters. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah, it's super fun. It was so much fun to meet our group from the spring. Yeah.
Wow. Worldwide friends.
Absolutely.
Knitter friends. So you would get yourself to Lerwick.
Yeah. You don't even have to get that far. You just have to get to the airport and we'll get you to Lerwick.
Nice.
We stay in a guest house there. And we have, so the guest house is like a duplex guest house. There's 2 sides to it. It's all guest house though. And they're connected. You don't have to go outside to get and knock on the door to get into one. You go from one side to the other indoors. It's easy. But what that means is there's a breakfast room on one side and a breakfast room on the other side. And they basically are like, this side breakfast room is just yours. So as we're staying in the guest house, we have a place to hang out in the evenings and knit together, and we all have our breakfast together. Nice. And then, we spend the week seeing Shetland and having knitting classes and some other crafting kind of classes. So Fair Isle week is very, very fun, I have to say. We have classes to help you choose your color. With Wilma Malcolmson, who is the most recent Shetland Wool Week patron, the one before this year, so 2020 and 2021. Yep. We go to her studio and she has examples out and talks about how she pulled the color from different pieces of art as inspiration, photographs she took to remember what she saw and how she pulled the colors from those and different ways that she used it. So people talked about that class the whole rest of the tour.
Oh, I'm sure.
They just
fantastic. When I had the good fortune to interview, it was just delightful. She's fantastic.
She's an absolute sweetheart. And then in 2023, we're going to have a class with her granddaughter, Terry Laura, to learn how to steek. Okay. So she is actually a very accomplished machine knitter and designer, and she is going to machine knit some panels for us, so that we will have multiple panels available to practice steeking multiple times. So by the time you walk out of this class with Terry Laura, you're going to be like, let me cut everything, because you're going to have the confidence to cut your knitting, and you're not going to walk away from Fair Isle patterns just because it requires you to steek anymore. Okay. You're going to have that down. We also have a class where, isn't this adorable?
It's beautiful.
It's a little gift bag.
Wow.
But it helps you learn how to do the shaping required for a yoke, for a Fair Isle yoke.
Okay.
And we talk about color theory in this class too, and you get to pick your own colors for your project. And so
that's lovely.
And then we have one other interesting experience, I will say. So Viveka Velupillai is a linguist who is in Shetland to study Shetland dialect. She's also a knitwear designer, and she's part of Uradale Yarn. And
Right.
so we go to Uradale Farm, and we're given a project to work on. So this is the fairy cowl. Of course, I picked it up showing you where the browns start. This is the fairy cowl.
Okay.
And we get started on this. And then Viveka gives us like an hour-long lecture on the history of Shetland dialect and how all the pieces came together from different groups coming to Shetland.
Yeah.
And how studying the knitting words that have been preserved have helped them trace these different branches of Shetland dialect. It's fascinating.
And I'll link down below in the description. You had a podcast interview with her that was super interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'll put that down below if people are interested, just to get some background about who she is.
And I actually teach this as a class during Shetland Wool Week in partnership with Viveka and Uradale Farms, where we do 2-hour sessions. We talk for an hour, we get instruction on Fair Isle, and then she gives her lecture. Then we meet again and we talk about like finish work with Fair Isle. And then she talks about their organic wool and how they raise the sheep organically and how they process the wool as naturally as they can. And it's really interesting stuff. So also look for that. That should be coming out in a few weeks, the ability to register for that. But I digress. Okay, so that's our official learning that we will be doing while we're on that tour. But at the same time, we're like going here and there to learn more about Fair Isle history and the area of Shetland. So we go to Garth. I already mentioned Uradale Farm. We get a talk at Uradale Farm about wool. We go to Garth's Croft on Bressa, which is the island across the harbor from Lerwick, where we're staying. And we meet with Chris Dyer, who has a croft that it's a totally fully working croft, but he also has it set up so he can demonstrate modern crofting for people to come. So we meet his sheep, we see the chickens. They have what they call polycrubs, which are the greenhouses that work there in Shetland in the wind.
Yeah.
We meet his heritage breed pigs. He just takes us around and we get to see what it's like to be a modern crofter and why he's made the decisions he's made given the climate they've had. It's really, really interesting. Of course, people have been living in Shetland for thousands of years now.
Sure.
And all around Scotland, there are these structures called brochs. Try BROCH. And they look like a chimney pipe almost. So they're round structures. They're double wall. They have a wall within a wall.
Stone.
They're not 100% sure what they were built for. Were they defensive? Was it status? Was it for signaling and passing? Because it's all around the coasts of Scotland and Shetland. Okay. But the most intact one in the country is there in Shetland. And you can actually go to it and walk through those double walls to the top and look down inside and see. And storm petrels actually live in the walls. They're the tiniest seabirds. And if we're very, very quiet, we might get very, very lucky and be able to hear them. You very rarely see them during the day, but you can hear them in the walls. It's very, very cool. We'll go to Eshness Cliffs, which is, if I showed you a picture of Eshness Cliffs and you have any interest in Shetland at all, you've probably seen Eshness Cliffs. They're hugely dramatic and beautiful. We go to the Shetland Textile Museum and the Shetland Museum and Archives, which is such a treat because they have Shetland Textile Museum obviously talks about the textiles of Shetland, but the Shetland Museum and Archives also has gorgeous displays that talk about, Fair Isle and lace knitting for us to see, including a sweater, a jumper that was worn by a man from Shetland in a World War II prison camp.
Wow.
That he wore the whole time he was there and brought back with him, and they have it there on display now. But they have all sorts of different examples through the ages, and oh my gosh, like people take so many pictures and you get so much inspiration from what they have on display there. It's just amazing.
So here's a question. So all these cool extras that you get to do, like the, the double wall tower thingy and all those now, do those little extra side trips, do those apply to all the different tours or just the Fair Isle
This is Fair Isle.
Oh,
this is just Fair Isle.
wow.
And I'm not even done, because we also go spend a day on one of the islands called Burra, which is actually, it's connected now by bridge, but people used to have to row the distance, not super far, but you go and think, oh gosh, like anytime you wanted to go to the mainland, you had to get in a boat and cross it. But there's a bridge now.
How convenient.
What's that?
That's convenient.
It's very convenient. But we go to Burra Bears.
Nice.
Where Wendy Inkster takes these, you can take sweaters, your jumpers, your old jumpers, and turn them into memory bears or just cute little bears. So this one here, the darker one, that was actually made from one of my mother's sweaters after she passed. Wow. So that's a sweater that my mom knit. Wendy made that one and 4 others out of my mother's sweater, because that one's completely out of my mom's sweater. But the other 4, like the front is, and then she got matching wool to make the other back panels. And that went to all of her granddaughters. We had 4 made, so she can stretch it. And the other one there was just one she had made when I was there this last time. And I was like, I can't pass it up. It's too cute.
I remember seeing that on your Instagram. I was like, that's so sweet.
Yeah. So we go there, we go to Red House, which is a silversmith and an artist, and they're like within short walking distance of one another. And between them is a place called the the Outpost, not the Outhouse.
Okay.
A different place. It's called the Outpost. And it's owned by a fellow who relocated there from Australia. And he has wallabies and emus and things like that. And you're just like walking from one place to the other. And all of a sudden you're like, there's
how can there be a wallaby at 60 degrees north?
They make it work. He has a birdhouse too, like a walk-in bird shelter with all these tropical birds in it too. And you're like, wow, how are you? But that's where we had our lunch. We just sat down at some picnic tables that day and watched the emus and the wallabies and the pigs. And it was fabulous. So, and then of course we're eating and we're shopping
all the time.
People had to
sure there are beverages, evening beverages, a little bit of that as well.
There are evening beverages included. So everything is included. Once you get to Shetland, everything is included except for your spending money, your travel insurance, and 1 dinner and 2 lunches.
Okay.
That's it. All your other meals are included.
And lodging and everything.
Your lodging is included. Your transportation on the island is included. Pick up and drop off at either the airport or the ferry is included.
Nice.
That's included.
Wow.
Yeah. It is as all-inclusive as we can make it.
That's great.
If we could add those 2 lunches, we would. Mm-hmm. But we actually discovered it's easier to just, instead of us acquiring those lunches for people, it's better to just be like, go buy your lunch, right. Because it's like a picnic lunch situation kind of thing. Oh, sure.
That's
like, we weren't like trying to, it just works easier.
No, it seems manageable, totally manageable.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
So that's the Fair Isle week, and that will run twice in the spring and twice in the late summer. And so I should say these blocks of tours run April 16th to May 14th for spring and August 20th to September 14th for late summer. And if you're sort of paying attention to that, that means that you will, on that very last tour, you will finish roughly a week before Shetland Wool Week should start.
Oh.
So if you would like to carry on your own, you will already be there to stay for Shetland Wool Week if you want. So
interesting.
So that's that for Fair Isle. I don't know if you have any questions about Fair Isle other than how do I sign up for 2024, Jana?
But people can read. I mean, that's a lot of information all at once. So certainly know that click through the links down below and you can read at your leisure.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a way to contact and or Jolene if you have any questions. So
Yeah, we'll have
all the
it
links
down
will be down
below.
below. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just my website, I thought I knew how.com, and you can click the link for Shetland Tours 2023, and from there you can get to the registration pages. Simple. Okay,
Sounds fantastic.
Fair Isle.
Yeah.
Done, right? We're gonna have a blast again, 2023 Fair Isle. This is how good this is. This is how I know that we're doing okay, right? With these tours, we've struck on something good.
Yeah.
Registration already opened for patrons and people on the wait list for it. And we have had 5 people of the 12 sign up for 2023 already.
Wow.
So
to go back. People that are
back.
previous attendees are re-registering to go
re-registering to come back. And some are like coming with a friend. Yeah. Some are coming for the Contemporary Crafts Tour. That's a new one.
That's fantastic.
I mean, people were really, really happy. Jolene and I finished these tours and we were just like floating. We were just so happy that everyone was so happy, you know?
So, and what you've mentioned, I'll bring this up too, because you're going to tell us about the other 2 tours in just a moment, but you've set it up where you could register for Fair Isle week and then you could stay and do the next week.
Right.
And the week after, if you wanted to combine things for your one plane ticket.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's my suggestion is if you think that one of these other tours sounds good, my suggestion is just go for it. Like just, you know, I mean, I hate to say this because I'm the person selling the tour, but like you say, it's one plane ticket to get there. You're already there. Just stay with us a little longer and enjoy it on this trip, you know? So, but yeah, we have it in the spring. It's set up to run Fair Isle, Lace, Fair Isle, and Contemporary Crafts. So you can come for 2 weeks, you can come for 3 weeks, you can come for 1 week. In the late summer, it's starting with Contemporary Crafts and then doing Fair Isle, Lace, Fair Isle, but same thing. So you can come for 3 or you can come for 2 or you can come for 1.
So like in the spring, if you wanted to do them all, you would do Lace, Fair Isle, Contemporary Crafts.
Right. Yeah.
So that makes sense. So tell us about the Lace one next. Then.
Okay. Lace, I think I was most proud of the Lace tour.
Wow.
Because I feel like for the most part, it was attended by reluctant lace knitters.
People are like, well, I want to go to Shetland, but I don't really want to let lace, but maybe I'll
Yeah. And who sort of were like, well, if I'm going, I'll stay for both. Okay. That was sort of the thing.
Yeah.
And they came on the tour as reluctant lace knitters. They left the tour as enthusiastic lace knitters and went home and cast on additional lace projects.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So we have, one of the benefits of the tours is we have a Facebook group that you'll be made a part of, and we will have monthly knit-alongs as we lead up to, or knit-togethers, I should say, as we lead up to the tours.
Okay.
Where we just get together online, and you get to know people before you come and start making friends. Yeah.
You could meet your tour mates ahead of time.
Exactly. And so that group has been posting their lace projects in the the Facebook group, and it just like my heart grew 3 sizes, you know. Like I'm just so glad, because Shetland lace was actually listed as an endangered craft. And so I'm so like, I think it's so important to keep these crafts going.
Yeah, for sure.
You know? And so come and learn and pass this knowledge on and get other people excited about this. That's what I'm thinking, you know.
Well, let me tell you, the first lace piece larger lace shawl that I ever did, I was really intimidated about it. But then when you realize, as with Fair Isle or colorwork, or as with lace, with any knitting, it really is just one stitch at a time. I mean, it really is. And it's very logical. It is all very logical. I mean, a yarn over is an increase.
Right.
And if you're going to keep the same stitch count, you're going to do a decrease somewhere else on the row to keep the number the same. It's all very logical. And it looks super fancy and it's amazing.
Yeah.
And but it is just one stitch at a time, in the same way that Fair Isle is one stitch at a time.
And Shetland lace is possibly the easiest lace to learn with, because the women who developed it, and it was developed in the 1800s as basically as a livelihood project. There were these knitters there who needed work, and people brought examples in, and they were like, okay, can you take this baby hat and use the inspiration from this baby hat and make shawls? And then I can take those shawls and sell them on the mainland. And the knitters really ran with that, and they developed this whole, lexicon of knitting here in Shetland. And so it's typically, the lace patterns have 12 stitches or fewer in their repeats. Okay. And the background, or the plain stitches, oftentimes are in garter.
Right.
So you're not even having to remember like, am I knitting or purling, in between? Like, it's just garter. Yeah. And a lot of the times the pattern is designed so that it can all be done in one piece, or it can be done with very simple joins that you will learn on this trip. So
it's very practical. In general, don't you think Shetlanders are very practical people?
Yeah, well, they were production knitters. Yes. These lace shawls were being knit to be sold.
Right.
You have the hap scarf there behind, or the hap cowl there behind you that you did. We did it. Yeah.
And that's all garter stitch here. And then it's a very practical old shale.
Old shale edging.
Also feather and fan, depending on the decade that you're referring to. But it's very practical and easily memorized.
Yes.
Yes.
So that was based on a traditional, that's a cowl, but the idea of that was based on the traditional hap, which was a garter stitch square with old shale around the edge. Yeah. They would wear it as a triangle tucked in, to their waistband or into a belt. And that was their winter coat, basically.
Yeah. Or
they would hold a baby in it, or carry things in it. That was an all-purpose garment. They also they also were knitting lace shawls, right, for production. And you can see some of these lace shawls, and from an arm's length, it looks so ornate. It looks absolutely mind-bendingly gorgeous. But when you get up close and you're actually looking at it, you can say they were doing exquisite work with very simple lace patterns.
Right.
It's just how they were placing them together. It's very easy to follow. And so, like, I just really encourage people, if you are a nervous lace knitter, or if you are an advanced lace knitter, come along. You will learn.
It's fun.
Because the teachers that we have on this tour are incredible lace knitters, like absolutely incredible. And they will gear towards you, their instruction towards you. Our classes are small. All these groups, the Fair Isle and the lace groups, are limited to 12.
Oh.
So this is not, you're not traveling with 25 or 40 other knitters. You're traveling with 12. So you come as a beginner, or you come as an advanced knitter, and the teachers will have time to instruct you at your level.
That's so cool.
And that was one of our goals in designing these trips, because you never know what the abilities of people are going to be on these trips, and so you want people to get something out of them no matter what level they're at. So you need to be an advanced beginner knitter past just knitting garter stitch squares, right? If you're past that, you can come on these tours.
Yeah. If you can knit and purl, and you can SSK yarn over, knit two together, you're good.
Do lace or the Fair Isle tour, either one. You're good with either one. So let me tell you about the classes that we have. So Ann Yunsen and Kathleen Anderson are sisters who are amazing lace knitters. They bring shawls that they've knit along with them and show them. And it's like, how did you?
One stitch at a time.
It is. Exactly. It's one stitch at a time. Absolutely gorgeous work. Yeah. So we spend a full day with them, We have a morning block of teaching, and then we take a break and have lunch, and then we come back and we have an afternoon block of teaching. And we knit a mini shawl, a mini lace shawl. So this is what we knit in the course of the day. So we actually, this part here, the edging, the lace edging, that's actually your pre-work. So you'll get that information ahead of time. This edging though is knit as one long piece. It looks square now, but as you're knitting it, it's just one long column of lace.
Okay.
And then we meet together and we learn how to pick up along 1/4 of that lace edge, and we knit what's called the border, which is this trapezoid shape here.
Okay.
We will knit all 4 of those, and we'll knit the center directly on the top of one of those borders. And then they show us how to join it all together so it becomes a square.
Wow.
At the end. And then you take it home and it looks like, but you take it out and pin it out to dimensions while it's wet, and you get this beautiful little, I would call it a doily at this point, right? But it's a mini shawl, and you've learned everything you need to know to make a 6 foot long, 6 foot square Shetland lace shawl from
fantastic.
Little thing that you've made. So that's one of our classes. We have another lace class arranged with Linda Shear, who is this year's Shetland Wool Week patron. So that project will be exposed at a later time. I will show you what we did this year though with our other teacher. Our other teacher was Rachel Hunter this last year, and we did Cockleshell Lace, which is a traditional Shetland pattern.
Right. Okay.
And you can see that it looks like
a shell.
A shell shape.
Sure. But as you mentioned, there's garter stitch between.
Right. So you have your garter stitch bottom, and then you have like all these stitches here that are elongated stitches that you knit together at the top to get that shape. And I have it 3 long. Of course, it hasn't been blocked at all. This is my one project from the spring tours I haven't finished yet. I got to get back to it. I'm just easily distractible. But so these are a traditional lace scarf. This is like the first or second lace that the children there would learn in school.
Right.
Would be cockleshell. And it's just a very traditional from Shetland lace pattern. Right. So that's what we did this year. Next year, I don't have the project for that yet, but it's going to be with Linda Shearer, who not only is this year's Shetland Wool Week patron, but she served for years as the head of the guild there, the Spinners, Knitters, Weavers, and Dyers Guild of Shetland. So she is like steeped in the wool knowledge, and she's going to be leading that class. We're going to go back to Uredale Farm. Mm-hmm. And this time the class is to do a pair of lace wrist warmers. Let me get one on here because mine are dark.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So this is another suitable for beginner lace knitter project that we will start there. Again, we'll have the lecture with Viveka. So that is one of the things that does repeat on the 2 tours. But I found people did not mind because you're there in their lovely home. You're knitting a project.
Well, and you may not remember everything from the first one.
And you're getting a refresher on what you heard one time. So you're a week later and you're getting to hear it again, and it's sticking better for you. So, and then we have another class that I think is really fun. And I was a little nervous putting the class into the tour, but it ended up being like a fan favorite in the spring. And that is that we go to Pepperwork Furniture, and he shows us how to whittle our own shawl pin.
Wow.
So it's the kind where you can pull your shawl through a little bit and poke it through. So go home and knit yourself a lace shawl, and you'll have a little shawl pin to keep it on your shoulder.
So what part did you make?
So he gives you like a board that's that thick, and he has some already there that you can trace. Or I actually did this class during Shetland Wool Week, which is how I heard about it. So this is the one I made, and I just freehanded like a head of a sheep and, pull it through and do the thing. So then he has equipment there in his wood shop where you can go cut the shape out.
Right.
And then your job is to do all the smoothing
Okay.
and everything. So it's a whittling class. And then this is the part where you're really whittling. Like
So
you're really,
there's like actual knives involved.
oh yeah, he's got whittling knives and stuff. So you get to do that. And it's on, he lives in Bigton, which is within view of St. Ninian's Island, which is where we go that same day. Gorgeous island off the coast. It's not like I would look at it and be like, that's not an island, because it actually has a sand tombolo that connects it to the mainland. But so we can walk across to the island on the sand tombolo, and then on that island there is the ruins of a church where in the 1950s there were archaeologists there on the island, and a boy was trying to help them, and they were like, yeah, go over there. And he went over there and found a Viking hoard of silver brooches and all sorts of things that's now in the museum in Edinburgh. But this is where the shape of this came from.
Okay.
One of the hoard things that was found. So we get to go walk around there and have an enjoyable time. So those are our classes. But we also, our additional experiences, we go up to Unst, which is 2 islands away from the mainland.
Okay.
So we get on our bus, we take a ferry over to Yell, which is the greatest name for an island, right?
Because they probably just had to haul her across back in
Right.
the day. Hello.
we stop at a place on Yell called the Old Ha, meaning the old hall, right? So it's the Old Ha, and it's like a local museum. It has literally the most delicious cakes I've had in Shetland. So we have, a little coffee break with some cakes. You can poke around in the museum, and there's local knitwear there for purchase, which always makes me laugh because like as traveling knitters, right, we're like, we can just make it ourselves. Why would we buy and then you see it and you're like, yeah, I have to have that. Yeah. And so then it was so funny. It would turn into like certain people would be very similar in size, and they would like want the same thing. They'd be like, oh, that sweater is so great. Well, there's one of them because it was hand knit by someone in her living room, So then it would turn into like a vote. They both try it on, and we'd be like, oh no, that one belongs to this person. No, that's got to go home with the other one. It just looks better, So we're all there like fashion styling each other with the local knitwear. So yeah, we did some serious damage at the Old Ha in their knitwear department and just brought a whole bunch onto the bus with us.
Wow. I feel like I would live on an island called Yell.
I think, honestly, Jana, I think you would love it on Yell.
I would. I'm sure I would.
It's between the mainland and Unst. But Unst used to have an Air Force base, or a British Air Force or Army listening station there. And so it had military presence. So it's more developed than Yell.
Right.
So Yell is really like the more rural of them. And I'm like, yeah, Jana, you would be happy there. Come along and see, and then you can decide. Okay. So we hop back in the bus. We take another ferry over to Unst, and we go to the Uns Heritage Center. Now, Unst, when all of this lace knitting was going on, Unst was really the hotbed of where it was happening. And so they have the Heritage Center, which talks about general Unst history, but within that center, you really go for the lace displays. So there's all of these historical examples of lace there, including a wedding veil that I made the mistake of sending a picture of to my youngest. And she's like, yes, mother, please knit this for when I eventually get married. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Start now.
Yeah. So I've been practicing my Shetland lace skills. So someday I can knit her a wedding veil. But while we're there, so the knitters of the area meet there regularly for their knitting groups,
right.
Oh, and I should say, one of the things we do on the Fair Isle tour, one of the things we do in the Fair Isle tour is we have a Makkin and Yakkin night, or a knit together night, with the MRI Mackers who were part of the fundraising for the scanner appeal. So it's an open invitation to the group last time I think we had 8 or 9 people come, and we put them at different tables, and we put participants at different tables, and everybody just talks and has a good time and gets to know the local knitters. It's really fun.
Wow.
On the lace tour, we do that in Unst. So that is, they make it known to all the knitters, like, come by, we're going to have people here, and we just sit with them and talk to them, and they answer all our questions about their knitting history.
That's so neat. You could have knit night with the locals. That's so cool.
It's so fun. It's so fun to hear from them, because it's really surprising. I mean, some of them were taught lace knitting when they were 5 or they were 4.
Right.
Some of them picked it up 30 years ago, and they're in their 70s now. But they were like, I'm going to be retiring. I should get a hobby. But they've been there knitting for 30 years. And so even though they aren't, people from there, they've been knitting for 30 years focused on this thing. So it's just so neat to hear their story and look at their work. Oh gosh, it's amazing.
Wow. So
we also we do hit the Shetland Textile Museum again on that tour, because you kind of have to. It's amazing.
Yeah, of course.
And then we go down to the southernmost part of Shetland, to Sunborough Head. And if you're there in the spring, on the spring lace tour, you have a very good chance of seeing puffins.
Oh.
So that's, if you want to go to Shetland to see puffins,
that's
the lace tour in the spring is the one to try and get into. Okay. There's also a site there called Jarlshof, which has they have come down and excavated to different heights or different depths, I guess you could say. So you have pre-Viking, you have Viking, you have Middle Ages, you have a lord's house, and then from there you can look over and see a modern built hotel. So it's like 3,000 years of human settlement on this one site that you can go
amazing
walk around in. It's fantastic. And of course, shopping and eating. You will not leave these tours hungry.
Shopping, eating, drinking. Knitting. What more do you want?
What more do you want, right? So those are the tours we've done before and that we're repeating because we've had such positive feedback.
Because they're amazing.
Because they're amazing. So now, this is a tour I have had in my mind for a while, and I talked to Jolene about it. She's my tour guide partner who is from Shetland, grew up in Shetland, knows everyone. If we have an issue, Jolene gets on the phone and it's solved because she calls a friend,
Well, she's a native and knows what to do.
She knows everybody.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let's grow these tours. Let me tell you about a tour I want to do. Because here's the thing. Knitters know about Shetland for knitting.
Right.
And rightly so. Rightly so. But once you get to Shetland on any trip, you start seeing how much creativity is going on in Shetland other than knitting.
Right.
It is an incredibly creative place. Mm-hmm. And I actually have an episode of the podcast that just came out with Donna Smith, who is a designer and former Shetland Wool Week patron. And we talk about it, what is going on here? That there's 22,000 people who live in Shetland, and it is just thick with creativity and craftspeople and stuff. And so if you want to hear our theories about why that is, go back and listen to that episode. But I wanted to do a tour where people could come who aren't necessarily knitters and experience that other side of the creativity of Shetland. So Jolene and I put together the Contemporary Crafts Tour. So we are going to have 6 classes with 6 of the different craftspeople of Shetland. Some are wool related, some are not.
Okay.
And because it is so craft heavy, we don't end up going out and doing as many things.
Right.
It's right, going to see different sites. But this is a very unique tour of its own too. So it's very much you can come do this one as an add-on. So the first place we we go on the tour is Glance and Glass, and she does fused glass designs.
Oh
So
my goodness.
This is an example of one that I made a few years ago, and you can see it's knitting inspired because of the design I did. My husband was with me. He did a sea turtle with like little seaweeds coming up. It's very cute. I couldn't find it, but it's around here somewhere. So this hangs in my office window right now and is a nice reminder, actually, of the Harriet's hat work that we did.
Right. The traditional star.
The traditional star and the colors from Harriet's hat. So that's what I did. So we'll make a beautiful fused glass wall hanging. So that's one that we do. The other thing we do is we go back to Paperwork Furniture, to Cecil Tate, and this time we are whittling a wooden spoon.
Oh.
Which is so fun to do. And you end up with a working wooden spoon. In fact, as I was waiting to talk to you, Joan from our spring tours posted a picture in the group of her, like a frying pan with her little spoon there on it, saying, I'm using it. I was like, oh, it's so cute. Well
it's
done.
Functional.
Yeah, it is a working wooden spoon. You can use this.
So I'm going to ask, what kind of wood is it made from?
I believe he said mine was ash.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but there's like a whole big box of wood.
Yeah, for you to choose.
That you pull out your thing. And yeah, different thicknesses. And he has a bunch of different samples of different types of spoon. Like, is it going to be more of a scoop, more of a ladle? And you sketch it out. Yeah. And same thing as when you do the brooch, you can take it over to the equipment and do the rough cutting.
Sure.
And then you spend the rest of the time chatting with everybody and whittling away and pretending you're on a front porch and
nice.
All of that stuff. So that's one. The other is we're going to go back over to Bressa to meet with the owner of Ram Knitwear, who is a machine knitter who lives there in Shetland. And we're going to get to learn how to do machine knitting.
Oh.
Which like the people on the spring tours, and also me, for some reason, I've been to Shetland several times and I've always sort of been like, machine knitting. On the spring tours, for some reason, it just really hit me how much design work and skill goes into machine knitting.
Right.
And so we decided we wanted to add that to the tour too. So you'll get your own time you'll be instructed, you'll have be shown what to do, and you'll get to make either a cowl or a scarf while you're there.
Wow.
Knitting. We will make a fabric covered lampshade that you will design the fabric for and do the printing on. So it will be a unique lampshade to you. We will create a wool felt scene with Anne-Marie Anderson of Puri Oryx, who makes these little like troll dolls, and she has a series of children's books that talk about these little Puri Oryx characters. Yeah, and they're in Shetland dialect. It's really, really cute. So we're not going to be making a creature. We're going to make a little wool scene doing needle felting, which I'm excited about. I haven't actually tried needle felting yet.
Really?
Yeah. I have needle felting stuff over there. I still haven't tried it. I don't know what's wrong with me, but yeah, I'm very excited. So those are all of our classes. Those are our 6 classes. Oh, and I should say that the fabric lampshade is with Julie Williamson Designs. And then we're going to have a talk with Linda Shearer. Again, will we patron for 2022? We've invited her to talk to us about the state of modern Shetland textiles.
Okay.
Because what I found is on all my trips there's a lot of time spent talking about the historical history.
Right.
Of course, historical history. I'm being redundant. The history of Shetland knitwear and Shetland tweed and things like that. And no one's really talking about what happened from, say, 1970, when the oil boom happened in the area, until now.
Okay.
And I want that filled in.
Right.
So we thought, who better than the woman who's been heading the guild there to talk to us about that. So she's going to give us a talk about that. And so as we're traveling around to these different points to have these lessons, we're going to go visit some different places. So we have to go back up to Unst again. So we're going to go to the Old Ha and we're going to have our cake. But there's also a castle up there called Munnis Castle that we're going to stop and visit. We're going to have a walking tour of Lerwick that will get us really familiar with the area and cover the history of the town. It's an incredible history.
Fascinating.
Of that area. There's a mill in the south. So Shetland's very long,
right,
elongated. The northern part is a lot of like heather, and you get a lot of sheep being raised and stuff. The southern part is more normal soil, so that's where a lot of the agriculture happened in Shetland, was in the southern part. And there's an old mill there that's been renovated and talks about the agricultural history of Shetland. So we're going to go see that. It's a really beautiful mill. And finally, the Bonhoga Gallery, which is one of my favorite places. We're going to go there and have lunch. They have a cafe in the basement. They have an amazing gift shop that has stuff from so many of these different makers from around the island, including people like I haven't even mentioned, like Helen Robertson sells her silver jewelry there. And Donna Smith has some kits there. And just like different printmakers. I mean, it's just an amazing gift shop. Yeah. But the top floor is a gallery. And they always have something going on in the top, spotlighting a local Shetland maker, artist.
Yeah.
Or a compilation of like, we invited these 5 people to come in and do these things. And it never disappoints. It's always.
And it's always different every time you're there.
Every time I go, it's different. Because it's a gallery, it's not a museum. So they're always rotating people through.
Yeah.
So that's the Contemporary Crafts Tour. I am super excited to go on this one. And we've had a really good response so far with that one. We're running it twice. We're running it once in the spring, once in the late summer. And I want to say the spring one is over half full at this point. Wow. And that tour is limited to 8.
Okay.
Oh, and I totally forgot one of the things. That isn't even all the classes. So there's one more class with Shetland jewelry.
Wow.
Where we're going to meet and we're going to make a set of stacking rings. A set of 3 stacking rings. So like silver.
Wow.
So this is one I actually bought from them. So they have these little additions on them.
Like
this one has a sheep and a little pearl to represent.
Yeah.
We're not going to be doing those built up things, but you can do like more of a textured ring like this one.
That's cool.
Something like that. But you're going to get to make 3 sterling silver stacking rings.
Wow.
Right? I'm so excited for the Contemporary Crafts Tour. So if non-knitters are welcome on all of these tours.
Sure.
If you are, if you have a friend or a partner who is not a knitter, we had non-knitters in the spring. They were fine. Like they have a choice. They can go explore on their own during knitting classes, or they can make arrangements with Jolene at Island Vista to have a tour guide come take them and do something. Like it's up to them. Yeah. It's an additional fee for that one, but it's very affordable. It's not break the bank. Contemporary crafts, all the classes are geared toward beginners. So if you want to travel with a friend or partner and have them there with you and experience these all together, Contemporary Crafts is the tour you want to be on.
That's cool.
So those are our tours. Yeah.
Now you did tell me, you did mention that there might be a spot available this coming fall.
Yeah.
Like in a couple months, like right away. Yeah. Maybe.
So we did have someone who, life happens and they had to back out of their spot. So we do have one space in one of our Fair Isle tours. It's running August 21st through 28th. By the time this goes live, it may already be filled.
But go check.
If you're interested. You want to go to islandvista.co.uk and contact Jolene and say, hey, is that available? And we'll see if we can get you in. But I'm not sure I'm not sure if it'll be available, but check.
Otherwise, people can go sign up for next spring or fall through your website, which all the links are down below. Yeah. Now I'm kind of excited.
I know. You should come. You should visit Yale. Maybe there for a few days.
I think my biggest problem would be which one to pick because they all sound super cool.
You know, I am so like I've done the Fair Isle Lace, so I know that they're awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm most excited about contemporary crafts for
Yeah.
next year.
But I'm
I'm
like, I
really,
wonder, could
I'm
I arrange my life to be gone for all three?
right.
Hmm.
I bet you could if you tried.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And
Yeah,
that's fantastic that you and Jolene have been able to put this together with all these participating artists and creatives in on the island, all the locals. That's so neat that all of them are like, yay, and they're all gonna do it.
yeah.
That's neat. I mean,
That
what a wonderful place to be.
yeah, it's so gratifying when
Yeah.
you have an idea like this and you know, it's going to take, 20 people to make it work. And you go to the 20 people and say, "Do you want to do this crazy thing with me?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, let's do it."
Yeah.
That feels really really good. So and then they're excited when we're there and it's just it's such a it's like the best summer camp.
And everybody I've spoken to from Shetland, I mean, it's not like that's been a whole lot, but everyone I've encountered from there has always been really welcoming and warm, and they want to talk about what they're doing, and they're super happy to share that information and share what they love with
Yeah.
visitors. Right.
Amazing hospitality.
Yeah.
Amazing
Yeah.
hospitality.
I'm sure
Yeah.
the food is fantastic.
Oh my gosh, shockingly good. Like the first time I went to Shetland years ago now, 2018,
Yeah.
uh, I was amazed at how good the food was. And it's gotten better. Like more places have opened since then. And there's same high standard of food and big portions. Like we had people who were like, "I'm so full. Like, do we have to eat again?" And we're like, "You don't have to eat everything on your plate. It's okay." But it's so good, that they're like, "I've heard so much."
We'll take it back. Take it back to the house for later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will say that at this point, at the time that we're recording this,
Yeah.
Fair Isle Week 3, which is August 27th through September 3rd
Okay.
in 2023, is sold out.
Okay.
Fair Isle 1, the very first one,
In the spring.
which is April 16th to the 23rd,
Yeah.
has 2 spots open in it, and they share a bathroom. And I want to just talk about that for a moment.
Okay.
Because all of these tours are going to get to the point where we just have 2 rooms left and they share a bathroom. And I think that as Americans, we hear that and we're like, "Oh, no, 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 no. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to share a bathroom with a stranger and not." So I just want to explain a little bit more about how that works.
Okay.
So in our guest house, you go up the stairs and there's a landing that has 2 to 3 rooms on it, depending on what floor it's on.
Okay.
2 of the rooms on the landing share a bathroom that's also on that landing. So because it's just a landing, that shared bathroom is only 4 or 5 steps from your door.
Okay.
That bathroom has a shower, a bathroom, and a sink. Or sorry, a shower, a toilet, and a sink.
Right.
So that's where you go and have your shower in the morning and you do your business. However, in your room, you have another sink and a mirror with a light.
So vanity, right.
So yeah, so you can brush your teeth, you can do your makeup, you can do your hair. All of that stuff can happen in your room on your own time schedule. So it's not like you're waiting an hour for Susan from Minneapolis to do her makeup. And I don't know why I'm picking on Susan from Minneapolis. But you're not waiting on someone to get entirely ready in the bathroom.
Right.
They just go do what they need to and then go back to their room and handle what they need to there.
Sure.
So it's much more doable than people envision to share a bathroom in a guest house like that.
Probably not a big deal.
It's really not a big deal. We didn't have people complaining about it on the first tours. Everyone was like, "It's fine. I would have preferred to have a private bathroom, but it's fine." That was sort of we made it work. It wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
Kind of. So it's very doable. It's very doable. So if you go to register and you find out like, "Oh, it's shared bathroom," that's what it's actually like. That's
right.
What.
But all of the actual sleeping spaces are private.
Those are private. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So if you have someone that snores like a freight train,
they're in their own room. I mean, so Caroline in the guest house, she's the one who takes care of us. Absolute sweetheart, amazing hostess. She's just so great. You have a breakfast menu. It's like a set menu every day. But I didn't want what was officially on the menu. So I'd just be like, can I just have 2 eggs and 2 bacon? No problem. They leave out a bowl of fruit for us and a bunch of little boxes of cereal and energy bars and stuff.
Yeah.
That's all there for us all day. There's a microwave there for us. So we're so well
fantastic. Yeah.
In the guest house. And it's just a short walking distance to get from where we are in town, but to get to the main road is just a very short walk. The night that we have free every night, where we're responsible for feeding ourselves, is also the night that the lounge has live traditional music.
Oh, that's fun.
So it's fantastic. So I believe they start, I want to say they started at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m., one or the other. You go up, it's upstairs. So you go upstairs, you come right out to the bar, you get whatever drink you're going to get, and you find a seat. And it's just people, tons of local people come, people who are in port because their boats are in port, they come, and it's just,
and you just have your beer and you knit and listen to music.
Yeah. It's just good to be with people and have fun that way. Yeah. It's such a fun experience. Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So
can't wait for 2023. I have tours I need to go to in 3 or 4 weeks for 2022. And I'm already I can't wait for 2020.
I know, but people can watch your Instagram and see all kinds of information and photos about how,
it progresses. And if you scroll back, you can see about the spring tours. Yeah.
So when are you leaving for the next one? So we know if people want to see the current thing and not scroll back, can they, go follow Anne on Instagram because it's fun.
I want to say it's 4 weeks from now.
Okay.
So it's the 21st of August is when the next set of tours start. So that's when
follow her Instagram now and you'll be all set.
I thought I knew how on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
That seems really cool.
I'm super excited. I think you would have a blast, Jana.
I
really do. You would enjoy it way more than New York City. So if you come on this, I won't harass you about coming to New York City anymore.
And I'm sure there would be plenty of hand holding.
Oh yeah, it's fine. We do a lot of that. So before we go on the tour, maybe I should talk about what happens before. I already talked about we have a Facebook group. We meet monthly.
Right.
We also do a couple of knit alongs. So we'll pick a hat that is Fair Isle for everyone to knit who's coming on the Fair Isle. Okay. We'll pick a lace hat for everyone or a lace object for everybody who's coming on the lace tour, and we knit it together and we do it online and just sort of casually enjoy.
Right.
I also encourage people to knit their own name tag. So you can do that in Fair Isle, and a lot of people do, and they just do a Fair Isle one. You can also do it in lace using Creative Yarn Over Knit 2 Togethers and have a lace one. So that's another little activity that we do. Jolene and I also release newsletters once a month. And in the newsletter, we'll have an update on what's going on as we're getting ready for the tours coming up.
That's cool.
We'll give some advice on, as you're packing, as you're preparing, what sort of things should you pack?
What the weather will be like, what to expect.
What the weather will be like, things like that. Advice on making your travel plans. Because again, we don't make your travel plans. You will need to arrange your travel plans to Shetland on your own or with a travel agent.
Right.
And we also have interviews with the teachers that you're going to interact with, our bus driver, who is an absolute gentleman named Peter, and he used to own a bus company and now he's retired. What is he doing now that he's retired? He's driving the bus because he wants it so much. Such a sweetheart. With the owners of the guest house, with our different teachers, different people.
That's really neat.
Yeah. So people can start getting to know these people and what to expect. And it just brings such a good feeling to the group. You're not walking into it blind.
That's
You've already
really
had
cool.
time to start making friends.
Mm-hmm.
You have your expectations set, and I feel like it took some of the anxiety away from people for making this trip, because it is a big trip for a lot of people.
It is a big deal, and a lot of people haven't traveled abroad before, and makes it easier. Yeah.
Yeah. Or they haven't traveled with a group before, or just, and so, and in our Saturday sessions, really our Saturday sessions end up being like questions, like we're knitting and we're talking about what we're knitting, but a lot of it's like, I had this thought about this thing.
Right.
And, we'll either find the answer for them or give them the answer, or someone will suggest,
right,
a solution.
So people need to hurry and go sign up before all the spots are gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Please do.
All right. Well, I'm excited for you.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
And to watch your Instagram for this next round that starts in about a month.
Yeah. I'm super excited to go back. Shetland really is a happy place for me. The people, the history, the atmosphere. That was something people kept talking about on the tour, is like, you can see a picture of Shetland and be like, that's pretty. But when you're there, the atmosphere of the place,
you get to feel it. You get to smell.
It's one of those places where it really has a feeling to it.
Right.
And so to be there and experience it, people were just like, this is incredible. Like this, you feel this place. And I'm like, yeah, it's amazing. I love it. I just absolutely love it. So it just makes me so happy to bring people along with me and show them and see them over the course of the week fall in love with Shetland. Like that just makes me so happy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for telling us all about it.
Thanks for letting me go on and on about it. I'm really excited about them, obviously. And I want to get some other people excited to come along. Yeah. So,
all right.
We have a lot of stuff coming up though before then, you and I.
Yes, we do. Real quick, we'll mention that we are again going to do the daily vlogging, daily chatting in December for the countdown calendars from December until the end of the year. And talk about that real quick. Your mini boxes.
Yeah. So I put together a box this year, an Advent style box. It actually is to lead up to New Year's Day or New Year's Eve. So it's a 31-day box and it's called the Shetland Hog Mini Box. And it's yarn from the different makers there in Shetland. So there's 7 different yarn makers represented. 7 different designers based in Shetland have designed a pattern for each of those yarns that you're going to receive. Each of those, each of those yarn makers yarns that you're going to receive. Because like one of the yarns, it's just one, and you'll get a pattern for that. But there's other, like another yarn company has 6 days,
I see,
and you'll get a pattern for that. Additionally, on the day that you get the pattern, you're also going to get a gift from one of the makers there in Shetland, some of which were mentioned today, but a lot of them actually are from different makers that aren't represented on the tour.
Wow.
So it's a daily, and then also on those pattern days, you'll get like a little card to tell you about one of the traditions relating to New Year's, either from Scotland as a whole or from Shetland specifically.
And this box has been sold out since like whenever you announced it. It sold out right away. But be sure to join in and watch the vlog, because Anne's going to reveal each day. And then that way you'll know if you want to order it next year. Yeah.
So I'm hoping to repeat it next year. It was just so, it really did. It sold out in 2 days. Like,
it was amazing.
Yeah. And Jana, I know I'm actually curious about this because I know you were kind of holding off on what Advent boxes you were going to get this year. And so I want to hear which ones you settled on.
Okay. So again, surprise, surprise. I pre-ordered for my birthday. My birthday's in the first week of June. So as soon as Lauren from A Girl and Her Wool announced her pre-order, I bought that for myself for my birthday.
I'm not surprised.
I know. So I'm going to open hers again. And then last year, remember I did the India Untangled and it was the National Parks countdown?
Oh, yeah.
So this year, India Untangled is doing one that's called Sea to Sea, like SEA, like coast to coast. And she's put together like a virtual road trip across the country with this cool map. I'll put the link down below if people are interested in doing it as well. Yarn shops from coast to coast or from sea to sea in 2023. So that was really cool. So I couldn't help it. I ordered that too.
I saw the ad for that the other day and I was like, I wonder if Jen is grabbing that.
Yes, I did.
That's great.
I did.
Yeah.
So that's fun. So what I'm going to do, I I hesitate to commit. Like last year, you knitted your advent and you kept up every day. And then at the end of the month, you had this amazing wrap.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether I want to do that or not. I'll have to look at patterns and see if I find something I think I can
Yeah.
manage. I don't know. I'm not going to commit at the moment.
If either of us do it this year, it's going to have to be you. Because the yardages on mine are going to be, I'm not going to be able to do it with the pattern yardages.
Right.
That I'm going to have. So it's 20 gram. I had a bunch of 20 gram skeins last year. And these are ranging from 25 to 50 every day.
Yeah. So who knows?
So I'm not going to be able to keep up. I'm going to do some of the patterns as we go along, but yeah.
So anyway, so join us for sure. Subscribe to, all the appropriate places because it'll be the Ann and Jana show again in December. So
yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Man, the end of the year is coming up soon.
It's only July and we're
talking
July.
And I'm like, November soon. I got to put Wovember together again.
I know. And it's 101 degrees here. And I'm like, can it just be October already? Can we just skip ahead? Oh, and speaking of which, we're going to have interviews with these designers and, people that are participating in the boxes that we're opening. We will have, like we did last year, we'll have pre-recorded interviews with various people, independent buyers and designers. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah.
So a lot of Shetlanders. I'm glad to hear that you got the box for the C2C because that'll give us a lot more people to interview too.
Be a lot of fun. So, all right. Thanks.
Thanks, Jana. Bye-bye.